Hi, moms and dads. Did you know that the fear of men starts quietly in the childhood? So right now, with your children, it might look like they're kind, but they are fearful many times. I won't say that every child is fearful, but they learn how to act properly because of fear. They learn how to not shame anybody. They learn how to be fearful of rejection. That's why they're kind. So it's more like an outward behavior instead of an inward one. And unfortunately, we as parents play a major role in teaching them that.
And it starts with some phrases that we use.
And be careful, maybe you're using one of those too.
You are making mommy sad.
Or daddy.
You are bringing a bad feeling to the family.
Yeah. You're embarrassing me. Look, other people are looking at you. You make the other person sad or angry too. So we're putting all of these emotions on our children. And I think the difference is it's important to teach them kindness, but not out of the fear of men. It's not because of somebody else's emotions.
Or reaction.
Yeah, it's because it's the right thing to do. So maybe a little test for you. Do you do the right thing because of fear? Or do you do the right thing because you know it's right?
Yes. In our case, it's interesting. When we came together as married couple, Shamara said, I did a lot of things because I wanted to please people. I had a fear of men. I didn't even realize myself. I thought I was just nice. But deep inside, it was because I had the fear of men. And you very often, you engage me on my true emotions. And I think I was disconnected to my true emotions. And I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's the emotion, but it's also that you're like constantly unsure what is the right thing because of virtue of like kindness or honoring somebody or being generous. That is like that, like it's clear. But then it changes if you have to make somebody happy. If you're always like kind of unsure, is that the right thing to say? Did I say it enough? How did that person feel? You get very insecure and it's a very chaotic feeling inside. So these are like the differences. To teach our children the virtues is so important, but don't attach them to emotions too much. I mean, naturally, we will, if they hit somebody, we would say, obviously, that it's not nice and you hurt the person. But if we constantly use somebody else's emotions to create fear in our kids, and most of the times we do it because we're out of control and out of ways to bring consequences or to teach our child. We're just so embarrassed because our child makes a scene and everybody's looking. So we use these phrases, and let me tell you, we've all used them.
Exactly.
Some more than others, but it just doesn't teach the heart behind the virtue we want to like teach our children.
It's a vicious circle because I had like fear of men. So it was even worse with my, our own children when I was in a place where the fear of men was even exponential. Like in a sense, if I was in a supermarket and something didn't work out very well, my fear of men became huge, and then I will fall into this trap of basically saying stuff like this.
But let's start, because it's not something you just picked up along the way, because we talked about that usually it's trained from us as parents. We train our children the fear of men because of fear of men too. Because we have it ourselves.
In my situation, it's interesting. I had to think about this, I think, through inner healing. And a lot of it was discussing together. Because you will see this very clear in my life, and I wouldn't even see it. And I realized, coming back to my own childhood, very often, actually, most of the time, I don't even most of the time, but the way I remember it, my mom would get out of control for something. She would be sad for something. Maybe we did something wrong. Maybe my dad or my sister, doesn't really matter. But what happened, she would go in the room and we'll hear her crying. She would close the door. And our dad will tell us, you need to go up there and apologize. So we didn't learn to apologize because we wanted, we learned to apologize to bring her down, to please the dad. So basically move the problem as quick as possible to please everyone.
Yeah.
So I became a people pleaser and I had no compassion for the situation. This is what I saw later. I had no compassion for people because I never really learned to go deeper in my emotion to connect to the other one, but just move it as quick as possible.
The quickest thing to do, because as a child too, what do I have to do? I'll do it and then it's over and it's fine.
Yeah.
So there's no change of heart, there's no explanation,
No.
there's no going deeper, which like in your case shows that it leaves you void as an adult even.
And it's not even, it's not even my dad's, mistake in a way. He didn't know better. But for him, I guess he wanted the situation to come down as quick as possible.
Like you too, afterward.
And he didn't use afterward this situation to teach us.
So it was a constant topic. I mean, not daily, but it always came up again. I think it was also partly because we grew up in very different cultures, where in your culture that was more, like I think it has more grip on people, the fear of men, than like in my parents' culture. So I was super surprised because I didn't know, like honestly, obviously we all have fear of men to a certain extent, but then I didn't know there were different stages too. And getting to know you as well, because suddenly I had somebody who put pressure on me to say hi, to say, no, not to say hi. Hi would be like kind of like a baby, but to say which was also like a baby, to say thank you. Did you say thank you to my parents? Like every time his parents came, this was like a big stress that you try to make it that your parents wouldn't be disappointed of me.
Exactly.
And I've quickly found that one time saying thank you is not enough. And especially you would always have to think probably they didn't hear it, so I have to say it again and then again before they leave. So it wasn't something I knew from my upbringing. It was very new to me because for me I was like, I said thank you one time. And you didn't understand my way either. It was kind of a clash of cultures and upbringing.
And I love it what you say, a thank you from the heart is a lot better than 10 thank you.
Yes.
Just to be sure you...
Fearful thank you.
Fearful thank yous, you know? So we could see this clash. And I'm sure you two in your own upbringing together as a couple, you see some of those things that you don't even realize.
Yeah, everybody has them.
And of course, out of this fear of man, there was a huge problem also with conflicts. I didn't like to have conflicts.
Yes.
The fear of man is very tied to fear of conflicts.
Yeah, because you lose something in conflict. You're always scared that you lose the love or be rejected.
Yeah, and you have learned actually to make everything even as polished as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you realize this.
Maybe like some of you are like, ooh, I think that is me, and I never tied it back. And that's why we're making this video, because it's key that if we've like had parents that taught us this, and it's like it's become in our adult life just a way of living, then we need to be aware to just like really cut it through, that we don't pass it on to the next generation, which we naturally will if we're not aware.
And I did.
Yeah.
I did, and it's not very good. You can see this in some children more than the others. But for sure I did.
Yeah. I think, like for me, if I think about it now, it's like a healthy fear of men. I think just a natural one that like you go and you grow up and you mature, that you lose. I don't feel anybody has like a huge like this huge burden that you carry that everybody else's emotion lays on your shoulder.
And I think this is because we talked about it from an early stage as a couple, and I saw it as a big problem. I saw it even as a handicap to a certain extent, so I had to work on it.
Yeah.
And it's better.
Yeah. And like we talked about the phrases that we shouldn't say to not put the burden on our kids because it's not theirs to carry. And it like in their heads makes them think, okay, I have to make the other person happy and not the love of the virtue. And it's like a thin line because we teach our children also honoring other people, but honoring other people is not the same of fearing other people. So instead of using all the phrases we said, is just also to say, this is not right. This is not the right way to do it. And there's a better way.
How could we do it better?
Yeah. How could you do it differently next time? But not tie it emotionally to feelings or emotions of ourselves or other people. Or to be like, look at these people over there. They're looking at you already. Like, stop it now. Just say, stop it. We don't have to include all the other people to make our point. I think sometimes we do not feel we have enough authority. That's why we take all of the other people to like back us. But we need to learn that we have enough authority as a mom and a dad, and our words count. And if we say something, that's the way it's gonna be, even though your child doesn't obey right away, but then you'll have a consequence. So just be sure and confident. Your word carries weight. You don't need everybody else to back you on that. Teaching healthy boundaries is another one, because then a lot of parents come back to us and say, yeah, but I don't want our kids to be pushovers. I still want to teach them boundaries.
That's a good point, though.
Absolutely. If a kid hits your child, you can teach them to say, no, stop. Or I'm playing with this first, I'll give it to you afterward. That they're allowed to set boundaries for themselves. I think that's also something that we can teach them at home during a teachable moment, especially for the kids who are a little bit more timid, that they are or have the right to say no outside.
Yeah, because when you grow like me, I had a really hard time to set boundaries. Because for me, putting boundaries while basically saying what I want was kind of entering in a conflict. When you set a boundaries to a certain extent, you will expect the other side to come against you, not necessarily,
but it can happen.
But it can happen.
Yeah.
And because I was so fearful of the conflict, I never really set boundaries. This is something that came later in my life when I realized I was just pushed like a pushback, not the classical one. I was not bullied like this, but to a certain extent, I will not say things and then I will boil and bring this boiling situation back home, and then the boiling will come on you and on the children. So Shamir was sometimes saying, why didn't you set your boundaries in the first place? Because now we have to suffer your lack of boundaries. And I think this was something that was very evident in the first years of our family life.
Yeah, and to bring another topic in here is also like unconditional love. We should teach our children that we love them unconditionally. And if we teach them fear of men, we teach them conditional love. As soon as you do something that I don't approve of, that makes me like look strange around, like people like look at me strangely, I feel ashamed or rejected, then I don't love you anymore.
Wow.
And that's like powerful, that like it should never, their actions should never be like linked to our love. It always has to be disconnected. I will always love you, even though all of the neighbors now think I'm the worst mom. It's not tied to that, because I'll work with you and we'll work together to teach you this. So that's another one that we can't lose out of sight, that our kids translate it this way. So fear of men says keep everyone happy at all costs. But like in the Bible, we find that we need to obey God and love other people. And that's very different to fear of men, because obeying God can sometimes even mean that we make other people not happy, but we're still loving people, and loving people doesn't mean that we'll do everything to make them happy.
For me, the fear of men also went away when I learned who I am in Christ, who is my identity in Christ. And I think this is something that was a bit blurry before, but being confident on who He says I am helped me to be more confident in my daily life, in putting boundaries and stuff like this.
Yeah, and that's our goal, that we want to teach our children their identity in Christ. So again, we teach them by modeling first and foremost. So we need to heal of what is like holding us back, and maybe this video has shown you have some issues in those areas. We really honestly all do, some more because maybe it has been taught to you than others, but we all need to work on the fear of men. Listen to how we speak to our kids. Are we like bringing others in because of this and this and this you need to obey? Or is it the love of the virtue, or just like, this is the way we do it, and this is the way it should be done?
So was it positive for me as a survivor, and I would use the word survivor, because I've been hurt for many, many years. It wasn't positive to be raised like this. And I wish my parents could have seen before. It's definitely this pressure that at home, and not only in this situation, but I think other situations, especially in this big family that we came, there was, with the cousins, with the uncle, with everyone, there was always kind of this pressure to be an image that was not really translating in the heart.
Yeah, it's like wearing a mask. And as a family, we should be able to create an atmosphere, a secure atmosphere for our children and us too, that we don't even have to create masks or put masks on, but we can be our true selves and still feel loved and find our identity in Christ in this secure environment. So that's why we wanted to do this video, because we know we can easily fall and slip in this because we just want a quick fix. And then this quick fix starts to be more and more sentences like that because we feel it works. But just think in the long term, like don't forget Hugues' story. It just comes back with interest. You have to pay back. Your kids need to work through it later as adults. It doesn't just like fall off naturally. So persevere and take the road that seems maybe a little bit harder, but be confident about the authority you carry as a mom and dad. So this was great for us to speak a little bit about like our own story and how we navigated that. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to write them in the comments. And we're looking forward to next week. Bye.
Bye.